All right, cadets, take your seats. I'll be your military instructor for this evening. Today, we'll be discussing the Battle of the Bulge, or for those of you who did your assigned reading will know it as the Ardennes Offensive. By December of 1944, the Allies had liberated most of France, Belgium, and Luxembourg. They pushed the Germans back to a series of defenses the Germans called the Western Wall. Behind this wall was native German soil, and they were not about to give it up easy. On the Eastern Front, the Soviets had entered native Germany and began their campaign of brutal retaliation against the German people. Hitler knew that if he was to stop the Soviets, he must first knock out the Western Allies. To do this, he devised a plan to cut through the Ardennes, encircle 4 Allied armies, and recapture the crucial supply port of Antwerp. Once he had done this, he would use the captured troops as leverage to negotiate a separate peace with the Western Allies, refocus his attention to the East, and win the war. The Allies, for their part, were completely unprepared. It'd be up to small, desperate, small unit actions to hold the line and give Allied command enough time to mount a counterattack. Today, in our lecture, we will discuss the stories of 3 men. First, a young lieutenant on the northern shoulder of the attack. And then we will shift our focus to the siege city of Bastogne and their 2 embattled commanders. This battle would be one of the largest of the European theater during the war. The deciding factor of this battle would be the war. For us, our story begins today on the frozen plains of Belgium. It's cold. I don't know where the Germans are taking us. I just hope it's somewhere warm. My name is Lieutenant Lyle Brock, 394th Infantry, 99th Division. I was in command of a 15-man recon platoon outside of Lazareth, Belgium, when, on December 16, 1944, 500 German paratroopers came down the road towards us. To make matters worse, our tank support up and left us, leaving us totally alone and outnumbered 33 to 1. I asked command to withdraw, but they told me to stay, so I ordered my men to dig inside of a hill and we waited. The fighting was brutal, I'll never forget it. Towards the end, we were all planned and out of ammunition. I ordered the surrender when the German jumped in my foxhole and shot me inside of the leg. When it was all said and done, we inflicted 93 casualties upon the Germans and held them there for 18 hours despite the odds. Delaying the advance of the entire 6th Panzer Army and buying the rest of the 99th Infantry, crucial time. I just hope it was enough. Despite doing all I could, I'll never forgive myself for surrendering. I joined the Army at 14, became an officer at 20, and on my first mission, I get all my men captured. Regardless, I'm hopeful. This may sound superstitious, but when I was little, I had an aunt in Louisiana who was a palm reader, and she read my palm once, and she said, "Lyle, if you live past the age of 21, you'll live a long and happy life." Well, yesterday was my birthday, and I made it. Anyways, it's getting cold. I gotta get back to my men. It's nice talking to y'all. God bless you. My name is Heinrich von Lutwitz, commander of the 47th Panzer Corps, and I am a proud German. I can trace my family lineage back to the 14th century. I come from a long line of soldiers. Myself, this is not my first World War. I enlisted in 1914 as an officer, as a private, and now in 1944 I command an army. The Führer's plan is simple. We will do as we've done in countless wars. We shall cut through the Ardennes, encircle the Allies at winds of water. My men are part of the southern flank as they attack. We've surrounded a small, insignificant unit of paratroopers in the city of Bastogne. They cannot hold out for much longer. So, I have drafted this letter to be given to the American commander of Bastogne. Be sure it gets to him, and tell him it is the only way to save his men. My name is General McAlfee, commander of the 101st Airborne in Bastogne. Leave you with a letter for me? Well, nuts. The Germans are asking us to surrender. To tell you the truth, when I first read this letter, I assumed the Germans are asking to surrender to us. The Germans must know that us surrendering is impossible. Bastogne is a key area. If the Germans are allowed to take it, they'll have access to the entirety of our southern flank. If the Germans reach the Meuse River, this war is over. The Germans must think us crazy if we're about to surrender now, at this crucial moment. So, I suppose my initial reply summarized it quite well, didn't it? Nuts. Let that be my reply. Nuts. And you be sure you give that to the German commander. If he asks for any kind of clarification, you can tell him we will kill every German that enters this city and hold Bastogne to the last. Now, Christmas is coming up, and my staff and I have drafted a letter to be delivered to the men and congratulate them on their proud victory today. I'd like to read parts of it to you this evening. To the 101st Airborne, Merry Christmas. What is merry about all, as you may ask? It is cold, we are fighting, all true. But what is the proud Eagle Division and its worthy comrades, the 10th Armored, 705th Tank Destroyer, and all the rest accomplished? Just this. We have stopped cold, everything to the north, south, east, and west of us. The German units were heading to key points when the proud Eagle Division was sent in to stop them. How effectively this was done will go down in history. Not alone in our division's glorious history, but in world history. Allied troops are counterattacking in force. We will continue to hold Bastogne, and by holding Bastogne, we assure the success of the Allied armies. We are giving our loved ones at home a worthy Christmas present, and being privileged to take part of this gallant feat of arms, and truly making for ourselves a Merry Christmas. Signed, McAlfee, Commander. The 101st Airborne will hold Bastogne for 7 days before being relieved by Patton's Third Army. It was thanks to gallant efforts like the ones of the 101st, Lieutenant Lyle Brock, and countless others, that the Germans were eventually stalled and rolled back. When the Germans retreated back across the line on January 25th, 1945, they were so exhausted of men, materials, and resources that they were unable to stop the Allies from liberating Denmark, Norway, Austria, and most of Western Germany, liberating millions of people from both fascist occupation and saving them from the brutal communist onslaught. However, this rapid advance would lead to the East-West divide in Central Europe and divide Ludwigs's beloved homeland between capitalists and communists for the next 40 years. Despite the many triumphs of the Battle of the Bulge, it came at a great cost. Thousands of soldiers would die in one of the worst winters in European history. Men froze to death in their foxholes. Many would die frozen and alone, thousands of miles away from their loved ones. Others, like Lieutenant Lyle Brock, were captured as prisoners of war and would be left to starve and wither away in German POW camps. When the battle ended on January 25th, 1945, over 10,000 American soldiers were laid dead, and alongside them another 12,000 Germans. Many more would be captured and wounded in one of the largest U.S. engagements in the European theater. It was a story of heroic triumph and tragic sacrifice. It was the defining moment of a nation and the death throes of an empire. Today, it is important we remember their sacrifices, for forgetting the stories of our ancestors would be the greatest tragedy of all. That'll be all for today's lecture. Cadets, dismissed.